So today we're tackling mindfulness.
Yep, mindfulness is such a fascinating topic. There's so much depth to it, especially when we explore how it can be applied in our daily lives.
Absolutely. We often hear about being present or living in the moment, don't we? But how realistic is it to integrate those ideas into the hustle of modern day life?
That's a great question. Many people assume that mindfulness is impractical or abstract, but research shows otherwise. So, for example, studies show experienced meditators can focus better, even with distractions.
So there's a solid science backing this. It's not just a good philosophy.
Exactly. Mindfulness is well grounded in research. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start by defining mindfulness.
Good idea. Can you give us a foundational definition?
Yeah, well, at its core, mindfulness is present moment awareness without judgment. Sounds simple, but it's incredibly complex.
Yeah, and I've heard people struggling with this, saying things like, I can't quiet my mind.
Yeah, it's very common. The key is not about silencing your mind entirely, but acknowledging your thoughts and feelings without getting carried away by them. So, for example, one analogy describes thoughts as clouds passing through the sky. You observe them, but you don't chase them.
So it's about creating space between you and that mental chatter.
Yeah, precisely. That space helps you respond to situations instead of reacting impulsively.
Okay, so can you share a practical example of how mindfulness works in everyday life?
Yeah, absolutely. So imagine this. You're stuck in traffic, a classic frustration for most people. But instead of letting your emotions escalate, mindfulness encourages you to pause, notice your tension, observe your anger without judgment, and then by doing so, you create a choice. Do you beep your horn, or do you just take a deep breath and let it pass?
So it's not about suppressing the emotion, but it's becoming aware of them and responding intentionally.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
This awareness is at the heart of mindfulness. The more we practice, the better we understand our triggers and patterns, almost like becoming scientists of our own minds.
Oh, that's a powerful metaphor, isn't it? But mindfulness is rooted in Buddhism, is it not? And, do you need to study Buddhism to carry out mindfulness?
Well, while mindfulness does have Buddhist origins, modern practices have been adapted for contemporary use. It's accessible to everyone, regardless of your beliefs or your background, so you don't have to worry about wearing a robe or anything.
That's good to hear. So what are some mindfulness techniques that people could try?
Well, a simple yet effective technique is focused breathing. Studies show that even a few minutes of mindful breathing can reduce stress and promote calmness.
But what about when the mind wanders, grocery list, random thoughts?
Yeah, it's totally normal. The goal isn't to eliminate any distractions, but to notice them and then gently return your focus to the breath.
So what other techniques can people explore then?
Well, there's all sorts of techniques. Another one is a body scan meditation, where you bring your attention to different parts of your body, noticing sensations without judgment. This can help and deepen connections to your body and develop present moment awareness.
So I've heard about this and it helps with a lot of chronic pain. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. Research shows that it can reduce pain intensity and it improves overall well-being.
So what about the art of practicing mindfulness beyond being still? So, could we, for example, be mindful whilst walking?
Definitely. So mindful walking involves paying attention to your steps, the ground beneath your feet, maybe your body's rhythm. It transforms something as routine as, like walking, into a more grounded experience.
So what about eating? Could you be mindful at the dinner table, for example?
Absolutely, yeah. So mindful eating is about savouring your food with full attention, noticing its textures, its flavours, aromas, and it's also a great way to slow down and really appreciate your meals.
I mean, this all sounds fantastic, but how can people honestly fit this in to their everyday schedules?
Well, I'd say start small. Even 5 minutes a day can make a difference. Think of mindfulness like building a muscle. You begin with manageable steps and then just grow from there.
And what would you say are tangible benefits that people might notice straight away?
Well, once you practice mindfulness, it reduces stress, it improves your focus, helps regulate emotions. And over time, many people describe feeling a greater sense of peace, clarity, and resilience even.
I love that. So we're saying that mindfulness creates a buffer between you and life's chaos.
Exactly. It's not about avoiding life's storms, but learning to dance in the rain.
Beautifully put. So any parting advice for somebody that's, beginning their mindfulness journey?
Well, I'd say, remember that mindfulness is a skill that anyone can develop. Start small, be consistent, don't aim for perfection. Just show up and stay curious.
That is very inspiring. And thank you, Simon, for sharing your valuable insights.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. And anyone listening, take 5 minutes today to practice a mindfulness technique and just see how it feels.
Great.